Sometimes people think I can't afford a business mentor or be a part of a community. What I try and explain to people is that you'll be surprised how generous people are with their time. By surrounding myself with these amazing, strong, feminine and masculine energy entrepreneurs and having them as mentors and also as part of my community, we've been able to share the highs, the lows, and the trials and tribulations of business, which has allowed me to make better decisions a lot faster, a lot more efficiently, but most of all, a lot more effectively. So having that diversity in that community, that diversity in that collection of mentors, and having that diversity in the nourishment that you're getting is going to put you ahead of the bell curve and make you the best entrepreneur you can possibly be.
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of the Make It Happen show where it's time for you to make it happen. Today we're joined by Andrew Morello, who is one of my great mates and also the head of business development here at the Entourage. In fact, when I first joined the Entourage, it was Morello and I that used to run all the workshops. We were really in charge of bringing the community together. So that's why we couldn't think of anyone better to talk about community. Like, how do you find a community? Importantly, how do you find mentors in that community that can help guide you along the way? What happens when you can't afford one? How do you go and find one? Andrew Morello is a master networker, and the things he shares with you will put you in fantastic stead. Let's get into it.
The top reasons why an entrepreneur needs mentors and a community is because when you're being an entrepreneur, you're on that journey, it can get very, very lonely. At times, when you decide to go down the entrepreneurial journey, what ends up happening is that you end up questioning whether the decisions you've made are really the right decisions you want to take for the rest of your life. On that lonely journey, getting the community and getting the right mentors is really, really important. The most important part of finding the right mentors is actually people that are going to complement your skills as well. One of the mistakes that I made in my early years was I found mentors that were exactly like me. And all of a sudden, I was getting the same advice that I would only give myself. So make sure you're prepared to remove your ego and actually understand that there are other different types of personalities and other different types of entrepreneurs and business owners that can take you to the next level. The top benefits that a mentor and a community can have on a business and an entrepreneur are absolutely exponential. See, the reality is when you're feeling like you are alone and you've made this decision, it's really, really important to find those people that are going to help you and actually take you on a journey with them and learn from their mistakes. By learning from their mistakes, it actually reduces the amount of time that you make mistakes too. See, it's okay to fail, but if you're going to fail fast, and that's the best thing to do. I've been very, very privileged to be surrounded by a number of amazing mentors. And I know that a number of you that are following this podcast and have watched these videos have actually just watched the Cheryl Ty video from Cupcake Central. I've been very, very blessed to be friends with Cheryl for the last 10, 11 years. We've traveled to Cambodia over the last 6 years as well and worked in my orphanage over there. And what that allowed me to do is by surrounding myself with these amazing, strong, feminine and masculine energy entrepreneurs and having them as mentors and also as part of my community, we've been able to share the highs, the lows, and the trials and tribulations of business, which has allowed me to make better decisions a lot faster, a lot more efficiently, but most of all, a lot more effectively. The most important thing that you should be looking for when you're finding a good mentor or mentors and a community is actually having diversity in the collection of people that you're spending your time with. The only one commodity that you can't buy or earn is time. So what that means is that when you're spending time with those people, try and look for a different nourishment in a different way. I believe human beings are nourished 4 different ways: physically, emotionally, mentally, and most of all, spiritually. What do I mean by this? In the physical world of making money and doing business, I was very, very lucky to spend the last 10, 15 years of my life being mentored by the likes of John McGrath from McGrath's Estate Agents, Gerry Harvey from Harvey Norman Worldwide, and also, as everybody knows, Mark Bouris over the last 10 years, who I was in business with Yellow Brick Road Financial Services. They nourished me in the physical world and making money and also mentally challenged me as well. But also what I've done is I've surrounded myself with some amazing mentors, and you should Google this lady, Geraldine, Order of Australian Medal winner. She spent the last 25 years caring and rescuing children from child prostitution and begging circles over in Cambodia and has a community and an organisation called Sunrise Village Cambodia. Make sure you check it out. Now, the reason why I spent time with Geraldine and and I see her as one of my strongest mentors, is she nourishes me spiritually and also emotionally. What that allows me to do is have a nice, beautiful balance to be able to make great decisions, but at the same time, have that conscious mind to make sure that whenever I am making a business decision, I'm also helping people as well, which is just as important. So having that diversity in that community, that diversity in that collection of mentors, and having that diversity in the nourishment that you're getting is going to put you ahead of the bell curve and make you the best entrepreneur you can possibly be.
Hi everyone, I just wanted to jump in here to let you know if you're enjoying this episode, it doesn't need to stop here. We've taken this episode plus all the other episodes and also video footage from the interviews and made it available for free. There's also a bunch of fantastic guides, tools and resources you can use to grow your business. To grab those tools, just go to www.the-entourage.com/podcast. Right, let's get back into the show.
The relationship with the mentor in a community is an interesting relationship because as you grow as an individual, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically, and as you grow as a business operator and an entrepreneur, you'll actually sometimes outgrow the mentors that you've taken. They might be financially more successful than you, or their business might be larger than yours, but it doesn't mean that you haven't outgrown them. So you need to be wary and vigilant of that. What that really means is that what you're looking to do is actually find the opportunity in the individual or the community at the time. So an example of this is that when I was very young, my core vision, mission and values that Andrew Morello lived by are very different than the core vision, mission and values that I live by today. So when I was in my early 20s and I was very young and getting into business and starting in the real estate world, starting to do property development and starting to move into the business circles, what I wanted to achieve were very materialistic things. I thought that I wanted to have the big company with 500 staff. I thought I wanted to have the big brand, and I thought I wanted to have the cars and the houses and the lifestyle that goes along with that. Hence, when I was looking for those mentors, they were the sort of people that I was attracted to. Now, there's nothing wrong with those mentors, and I'm sure they deserve the cars that they've bought and the aeroplanes or the helicopters they might own. And I was very, very lucky to have experienced plenty of good times with those people. But then as I evolved spiritually and emotionally as a human being and I grew up and matured as an individual, what I realized is my core values had shifted. And those core values had really moved towards how can I give back to the community? Hence, if you Google some of the works that I've done, you'll see that I've moved far more into the philanthropic world. Then when I moved into the philanthropic world, I started spending time with people like Liz Heliotis, who was the past CEO for the Ovarian Cancer Research Fund. And what she did is she took the Ovarian Cancer Research Fund and did some phenomenal commercial deals with companies like NAB and Witchery, where they donated over $1 million and they did a thing called the White Shirt Campaign. What I was able to do is while spending time doing my philanthropic work and helping these philanthropic communities and these charities, I was actually able to learn number of things that I implemented then into my business, but then also actually did what it should have done, which is actually grow with me as an individual and evolved into the person I am today and complements my core vision, mission and values now. Sometimes people think I can't afford a business mentor or be a part of a community. What I try and explain to people is that you'll be surprised how generous people are with their time. The challenge you've got is when you're not paying for it, then you really need to take whatever you get. So I'm a big believer in investing time, money, energy, and resources into your mentor group and into your community and advisors and also coaches. I personally spend in excess of $20,000, $30,000 a year personally on my personal and professional development. And within the companies that I've invested into, one being the Entourage, two being Jealous Craig Real Estate, three being a number of other companies, we've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars every year in order to get the right people to coach, mentor, and create the community that we're trying to create. But let me explain a couple of quick things to you. Number one, if you're not in a position financially to engage in a proper mentor just yet, or a coach or an advisor of some sort, then make sure you reach out. If you are young, then that's what your little trump card is. You know, I'm in my 20s, I've started my first business, I've really admired you, I've read 2 or 3 of your books, and I really wanted to just catch up with you for a 20-minute coffee. Most of the mentors and coaches that I've had over the years were willing to spend their time with me, and I've been very, very lucky enough to spend time with them. But If there's someone you really admire and you really want to get yourself ahead of the bell curve, when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, I wanted to be the best I could possibly be in the real estate sector. So what I actually did is I spent money, thousands of dollars, actually engaging John McGrath himself, where I'd get the opportunity to go and watch John McGrath work at his office in Edgecliff, and I would pay for my flight from Melbourne up to Sydney, and I'd catch a train back then from the airport into Central, catch a train then to Edgecliff Station, and then I'd go and spend the day at McGrath's estate agents with John McGrath himself and a guy named Scott Kennedy Green. I was only 18, 19, 20 years old, but I saw the value in investing in order to get in front of those people. Now today, Scott Kennedy Green and John McGrath, who are the top of their game in the property sector, are actually my personal friends. We go for lunch now, we go for coffee, and I don't pay for that relationship anymore. But in the early days, in order to get in front of some of these, what you would call superstars, I was prepared to make an investment financially, mentally, emotionally, and also using my resources as well. But don't be afraid of asking. If you don't ask, you'll never know. So I was very, very blessed and privileged to have grown up in a family of entrepreneurialism. So if you haven't done that, it's really, really important for you to start to go and actually start to surround yourself with the right people. There's a concept where what we call is you're learning via osmosis. And I was very, very lucky. I don't have a business degree. I don't have an economics degree, but we would spend most dinners at home or on a Sunday afternoon having lunch with the family, where our father would talk to us about the real estate investments he made. My brother would talk about the real estate business he had set up. So we were surrounded by those initial mentors that I had at a very young age. But at the age of 15, 16, I still remember a really funny story where I wanted to go and spend time with a gentleman named Nick Lynch. And Nick Lynch was the gentleman who started Harcourt's Real Estate over in New Zealand, and he was a bit of a superstar in the industry. And he was doing an event at Moonee Valley Racecourse. And I negotiated with my mother that I could go to the event, and she goes, but I want you to go to school at midday. So the event started at 7 a.m, they did a breakfast, and then, and I was 16 years old. What ended up happening, and I said to my mum I was going to go to school at midday, so I went to this first session with Nick Lynch in my school uniform. What ended up happening is Nick obviously pointed me out in the audience. It was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and I was in my school uniform, and he wondered what the hell this kid in his school uniform was doing at his seminar. And then he ended up taking me under his wing, and we forged a relationship. My mum told me off that I never went to school that day, but that was my first mentor that I got. At 16 years old was Nick Lynch. At 18, I engaged in a second paid mentor, and then I was very, very lucky to always go back to my family, my mother, my father, my brother and my sister, who are amazing human beings that were great role models for me. So sometimes you don't need to look too far to find great role models and mentors. They might be really right next to you physically at the time, but otherwise go out there, be confident, be bold, be proud, and actually step out of your comfort zone and ask if you can actually get in touch with somebody, because I reckon people are pretty selfless these days. Thanks guys for spending the last 10 minutes with me on the Make It Happen episode. I hope that you've gotten a lot out of this and allowing me to share the stories with my mentors, my coaches, advisors and community. The last but not least, what I want to say to you is more is lost with indecision than wrong decision. So make the decision to step outside your comfort zone to reach your full potential and not waste your precious life. My name's Andrew Morello. You can obviously get me on Instagram at Andrew Morello, or come check me out at the Entourage. Love to have a chat with you about you and your journey of becoming an entrepreneur. I'm always happy to give anyone 20 minutes of my time, but make sure you reach out and you make the magic happen. Thanks very much.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Make It Happen show. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And it doesn't need to end there. We've actually gone and grabbed a whole bunch of extra resources for you. Behind the scenes footage, videos from this and all the other episodes, as well as show notes that you can grab for free. Just head along to www.the-entourage.com/podcast and you can grab all those extra resources. Thanks for tuning in, and I cannot wait to introduce you to our next guest on the next episode.